Podcast episode 12, The Dirty Dozen. And if you haven't listened to the first 11 episodes, now is the time. And if you want to go back in the archive and see what the heck this is all about, I would actually suggest episode 11. It kind of captured everything as a mix of humor, craziness, and good old-fashioned Hort stories. And if you're not following us on Instagram at GH Squad Pod, you should probably go and do that. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Great.
Is it?
Awesome.
Nobody's tired. Nobody's worn out from travel. We're all like rocking and rolling.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm not too tired, but thanks for asking.
Yeah,
I got back from Vegas last night, but I'm still kicking. I'm still upright. I guess I'm sitting down, so that's good. And to be fair, I was in Vegas for a show, not for fun or fashion. Though, yeah, I guess maybe I could have been there for this weekend. They had a TikTok Live Fest after, but I guess we're not on TikTok. But, you know, the celebrities that we are could have represented the pod. But yeah, no, I was there for Indoor AgCon, which was fantastic show, I thought.
Had you been to that before? Was this your first or?
My first, not our first. Carrie and John went last year. And then this year I went with one of our technical folks, Lauren, and she did a great job. And they did a really good job of like talks and expo hall and kind of making it fun and refreshing, easygoing. It's a real easygoing show. Like nobody's like, you know, trying to actively like be like, all right, we need to do X, Y, and Z, and what's our freight on this? But like for me, it was great. Like I got to talk not only to the growers that were coming by, but also like I sat next to Randy Nestor from. Well, I guess I sat next to H.E. Anderson, and Randy and Peter were there, and they're good guys. Eric and the folks, Eric and Max were there from BioSafe. They were like right behind me. So yeah, it was good to catch up with everybody and also talk a little shop. And
how big of a show is that? Like how many people attend?
Great question, Seth. No idea, but
more than 100, more than
fairly
1,000?
crowded. No, I would say
5,
it's got to be in the thousands.
In the thousands, I think.
Yeah. Like it's not.
What's
like,
the market?
It's not,
the market is CEA, right?
Yeah, but they also do like cannabis stuff too.
Okay.
So it isn't, but that's kind of the benefit of that show is that it's not all cannabis and it's not all CEA. And the CEA portion, like it's not just all leafy greens. Like they cover mushrooms, they cover fruiting crops. They even had some conventional agricultural folks there. Like it covers a wide breadth, and everybody there is really somebody. I forget who said it to me. It was like it isn't a kick the tires kind of show where it's just like people coming to like grab some swag and like be like, oh, what's new? Like people are there like, hey, I'm looking to solve problems, looking for solutions, trying to figure out like what the next steps are. And so that was like a lot of high level conversations, which was really cool, really fun, and got me thinking about some more things. So yeah, overall, I would say great show. I'm excited to go back next year. I didn't know. I'm not a big Vegas guy, so I'm always like, oh, is this going to be more circus than show? And this is definitely like the meat of why you're there is the conference. And I think they could do it anywhere in the country. I feel like some shows do it in Vegas because they're like, if we did it anywhere else, like we wouldn't have the draw. But I feel like that show could do it anywhere they wanted to, and it was well run.
Well, Vegas knows how to do conventions. Like, I mean, they're pros. So it's actually a pretty easy place to host an event. And I talked to someone this morning, Suzanne Wainwright, the bug lady.
Oh, yeah. She was there. I saw her.
And, well, it was her first time going too. And I just, I said, well, what's the vibe of the show? And she basically said the same thing, like very good quality of people there. She met with some big companies, small companies, but everyone's super professional. And it sounded like a lot of technology was there, which is cool, which I think is good, like new emerging tech.
So one of those things that I was like sworn to secrecy about, like, cause we were kind of involved with it and they hadn't released it, was Canon was there.
Yeah.
So Canon, like the camera company. And so they were launching kind of a, I don't know if I would call it a product, a service. They're still kind of figuring that out, but like some like diagnostic stuff for looking at plants. Like
we're
obviously
partnering with the university on it. So it's going to have like research based.
And so and I've known about it for a while, and then I didn't know they were going to be there. And then I talked to the university, one of the university researchers, and I was like, hey, what's going on? How is everything going? And he was like, why don't you go ask them? They got a booth over there. And then I went over there and I like saw the lady and she was like, oh my gosh, it's you. Like we'd never had a face-to-face call. It was always phone.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. And so they were like, this is our first show. Like I was like, this is a wild show to me in my head of being in this industry. Usually it's like cultivate, Mance, whatever. They're like, indoor AgCon. It's our first show. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't even think about it. And then it was a great conversation with them. I think they're doing some cool things. From talking to her, she was like, we really want to approach this as like, we know we're an outsider and we're not
Mhm.
trying to come in and tell you how to do things. And I thought it was really neat that they put up like their whole background on their booth was like, how can we help use our, like, it was, I forget the exact word, but it was like, how can we use our skill set to help you guys? And it wasn't like, here's how we can help you. They truthfully wanted to learn from the people there. And so kudos to them.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, that's there. You got your shout out of the way. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Sorry.
What's this? Are most indoor ag companies fairly large? Yeah.
I
Or is
think
there a bunch of
I
smaller?
feel like there's been a lot of consolidation in the industry from like a production side, but it encapsulates everything like vertical farming
yeah.
and hydroponics and aquaculture and like
Mm.
everything that is controlled environment ag. But I would suspect that the companies that are like the allied companies trying to provide products to the industry are all different sizes. I mean, from a giant
Yeah.
multinational company like Canon to, a smaller company.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And one that's what it was kind of interesting is that and to your question, Seth, I think that it's actually one of those industries that kind of splits off into both ways. I think it's probably really hard for like a medium-sized grower to be scalable, like large enough to where
Mhm.
they can make enough money to cover what they need to. But you have like giant growers that have multiple operations and like they're a food production company and they're
Right.
trying to find more hours in a day to grow food. And
Mhm.
then you have some people that are like, who was the guy that did this in Colorado? Like they have a greenhouse and then like in the winter, they're like, we're going to grow all these produce plants and do this. And so you have some people that are like really small scale. And I say really small in that they only cater to their community. And then you
Yeah.
have
Right.
people that are
Like
catering to
local, like a
a
hyper
tri-state.
local
Yep.
supplier to
Right.
restaurants in one city.
Mm.
Right.
Then you have
So
companies that supply
a tri-state
lettuce to
area.
every supermarket in a region.
Yeah. So, and I would say the service providers, like the vendors, like I mean, I listed off a bunch. You'd catch all those guys that cultivate. So it's people like Dram was there, Griffin, BFG, like all those guys are there. But then there were some people that like a lot of machinery companies that I'd never heard
Mm.
of that they're trying to cut their teeth there.
Do they have some? I imagine they have like pretty cool like robot systems, right? Because a lot of stuff is trying to get
Well, a lot
more.
of it's automated in CEA.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
think
was gonna say. It's
it's
more
much more automation
automation.
friendly than like, traditional bedding
Yeah.
plants or something.
Yeah, like, I don't know if I'm not the expert in this by any means, but I don't know if you'd call it robotics because, like, a lot of things we would call robotics is because, like, we have a tree cart of plants and, like, it takes, like, something to move those, like, that is its own entity, but
Mhm.
in CEA, like, the entity is the system, so it's just
Mm.
automated, kind of like,
Mhm.
it slides down, it goes over,
Yeah.
it's scanning, it's cutting, that kinda thing.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, it's an adjacent part of our industry, but it's big and it's probably more closely related to ag than hort, but it's very much a crossover and it's something I'm always been interested in. I would like to go to that show just to understand more about it. And I know that, in terms of biological controls are so critical because you can't just go in and blast a greenhouse with chemicals when you're making lettuce that is turning real quick. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I
those
would
were
like
some
to
of the
go.
biggest booths.
It's an every year show, right?
Yeah, and actually,
Maybe you
you
take a
brought up
field trip next year.
biologicals, beneficial insectary and copert, I
Yeah,
don't know how to pronounce it. Those 2 booths
yeah,
were by far the most crowded that I saw at the entire
Mm.
show, like, just people,
yeah.
in there the entire time.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't
Well,
surprise
next
me,
year,
and they are
Bill,
getting that way at hort shows too.
Yeah,
You can go and room with Mason next year.
We
yeah,
can.
Try
That's
out the
good.
show.
We can both be asleep by 10 o'clock in Vegas.
mm, I know, and then
Sounds
waking
like a
up at
plan.
3 a.m., and I was like I a funny story, the first night I was there, I fell asleep at 8:30 Vegas time.
Mhm.
And then I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was like, I can't go back to sleep because it's 5 a.m. my time, and it's the time I
Right.
usually get up with the kids. And so I was like, I'll go get a lift in and a walk in. And I got all dressed, went down, and the fitness center at this place didn't open up till 6.
Oh yeah, no, Vegas fitness centers don't open till 6. and they
It's
don't
not
really
like your
get crowd
hotel
full
gym because
effect.
it's much bigger. Like, hotel gyms are like, "Whatever, destroy these
Right.
machines." But this
Yeah.
was, like, part of a spa, and I was like so I
Yeah.
got all dressed, went to go get
Always.
and I was like, "Doesn't open up for another 2 hours." I was
But
like,
you can get
"Alright."
coffee with all the people that have just finished gambling for the night,
Smoking
which is
cigarettes,
always
drinking
entertaining.
coffee,
Oh, yeah.
gambling all night long.
Oh, yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, our loyal listeners might have realized that we didn't record an episode last week. Well, and this is part of the reason. Mason was traveling. I think it's just been really busy work weeks. We have had a lot of family stuff, and we do this for fun. So if we miss a week, we miss a week. Anyways, I want to talk a little bit about the wrap up of the 2026 Fantasy Plant Draft. Congratulations to Team Carlos Lantana for winning. Mason, your team, strong. You got the most votes. I do think, part of the reason is you did recruit the Avengers to appear on your pitch video. And if you missed that, we all did make pitch videos. They're on YouTube and Instagram. Definitely worth watching. It's 3 minutes of your time, not wasted.
I
But
got a
every
bunch of
channel
likes on
paid the
that.
winner. What's that?
I got a bunch of likes on that from people that hadn't seen the podcast, and they were like,
Yeah.
"I don't know what that was for, but it was sweet."
See?
And meanwhile, Alex saw
Exactly.
it, and she was
Yeah.
like, "That's the lamest thing I've ever seen."
You know
I
what?
showed it to my kids. They were like, "Yeah, Mason knows how to win." They're like, "It's like the person who wins class president because they gave out a bunch of candy, not because they were good." But your team was solid, and some of the comments when you did win by not that big of a margin over my team, Seth, you did come in last, but that's okay. Some of
What?
your supporters cited the fact that you had a team full of industry staples, classics, and a well-rounded assortment. There were comments about, yeah, I like niche crops, but I think everyone really understands what sells, and that's what pulled the votes. Congratulations, Mason. How does it feel to be the champion of 2026 draft?
It's not much different, and I'll say that because I live every day like I'm a champion.
There you go.
And, I saw an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote today that, he never once went to a competition to compete. He went to win. And, that's how I really felt about this going in.
And
Wow.
as much as it pains me that I got second and a half place, Mason, since you did win, I do have a trophy for you that next time I see you, I'll be able to give this to you. So this is the first, it's the first ever plant draft. And so this is the first ever plant draft trophy. So
Oh, I'm thoroughly honored.
What was that
that you
trophy really for? I'm
found
kind
your
of
desk.
interested.
what? You know what? That's a story for another time, I think. But
Well, it's a good looking trophy, Mason. You're well deserving, and
Thank you.
congratulations. We are going to spin this plant draft a little bit different sometime in the next few months, but we're still nailing down those details or starting to discuss it. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
A topic I wanted to bring up because it's something that's been consuming a lot of my time in the last week is the Winter Olympics. And it's not probably as important globally as the fantasy plant draft, but it's close. And I have been watching a lot of it. I do love the Olympics in general. I like winter. I like summer. I do like summer a little bit more. Have you guys been watching the Winter Olympics?
Sparingly, I will say that when it is in a different as much of a different time zone, it makes it a little challenging because I don't want to rewatch and be like, oh,
Right.
I already know Jimmy is going to win the gold in the slalom. I'd
What?
rather watch it live, but because the anticipation is gone. But
so are you checking out all the stories of who wins what, in the middle
can't
of the
help
day?
it. I can't
Well,
help
it
it.
hits
Yes,
your
I am.
feed. Like if you even look at one, then suddenly your feed's
Oh.
now full of who won the
Well, and back in
luge.
the day, they didn't have to worry about this. I remember when I was a kid,
Right.
even if it was on a different continent, the internet wasn't as big as it is now. Most people
Yeah.
just didn't know who was going to win.
Right. Sat down at 7 p.m. and watched the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're definitely watching it because Alex, my wife, she used to do competitive figure skating, and
Oh.
she is very good. But got to the point where in a sport like figure skating, you're either I'm going to try to go to the Olympics or I'm just kind of done. And so
Yeah.
she was like, I want to be a normal high school kid. And so
Can she do a quadruple axel? Can she do a quad?
to that point, no women. I don't think any women can do a quad axle. I don't know if any
Or a
women have.
triple axle. Can she do a triple axle?
No, triple axle. I
Can she
think is
do a
the
single axle? I don't even know if that's a thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
You just spin
But
around, you jump and spin around once.
I would say this: she can do jumps, and she taught me how to ice skate. So
But
yeah.
she can still do stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She can't wait to like take the kids to go ice skating. And
So
teach them
food for
all that
thought. I
stuff.
would put money on this. I would pay for this. So what if you and her do like a video performance on the ice, right? Like you
Yeah.
go out and she
Ice
like, you
dancing?
guys have like a routine that you do, and she will look really good and you will look less good, but it would be really funny to watch,
Maybe.
I think. So, could you
But
do that for us? Like it could be an
no.
exclusive for the podcast, right? Like no one else has access to this great performance of Alex
Right.
and
We'll
Mason
make
Day.
that happen. I think that, yeah, we could
Yeah.
probably rent out
Yeah.
some ice somewhere.
Right?
I'll let you guys
That
do
could be
that.
really good. I think there's something to
I'm in.
this.
I got
Yeah.
$10 on it.
All right. Me too.
No, that's
Yeah.
cool.
But
Well,
that's where like that's one sport we watch religiously. We like, so the team USA took gold in the figure skating team competition, as they do all their individual events and as a team. And it's kind of cool because they do that in gymnastics too, but it's men's and women's. And for
Right.
figure skating, it's combo. And so, but then like, I don't know, when we started dating, I very quickly learned the difference between like there's couples or pairs, sorry, figure skating, but then there's also ice dancing. And ice dancing, they don't do any jumps, but in
No.
pairs, it's all about the jumps. And that's where most of your points, like some people you always wonder, and I'm like, that guy looks like he's just like made of bricks. Why is his score better than the guy that's just like floating around? Most of the points come from the jumps.
Well, and there's no limit to your score, which
Yeah.
is crazy. There's no like top end. It all just goes by the technicality of it.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I
crazy
don't know.
neat
We've
that
been
they know
watching a
they're,
lot. We have been fascinated by Ilya Malinin, the quad god, which is a great nickname, which I found out he gave himself that nickname,
well, he
which
did.
I give
And
credit. I mean, he did a quad, like a quadruple axle,
Mhm.
and then he went on his Instagram and changed his profile name to the quad god, and that became his nickname, which
So,
I
and
think
to
is
his
pretty cool.
credit
He can
too,
do a quintuple. He says he's done them. He just needs to clean it up.
physics
And he does
said
them.
for
He
years
does
they said
backflips.
physics said it couldn't be done.
That's crazy.
Like
So
Mr. Physics?
no, like
Who? A
they
physics
said that the
professor?
human, like all these studies said the human body couldn't do, and I think they even said it about like the quad axle, which axle I think is the toughest one because you have Lutz, toe.
Yeah.
There's like a
I think
sow cow.
Falcon.
That's a thing.
I also find it like Guy is good at personal branding. So if you watch they call it the free skate, which is in the figure skating, you have the short program and then the free skate, which is the long program. Don't know why they do short program and free skate, not short and long, whatever. But the free skate is a instrumental music track and with inspirational words, like just like poetry. It's him.
That's so cool.
He's the voice. Most people are skating to music and songs, and he like basically like did his own track. I was
He is
like,
the ultimate main character.
yeah,
I kind of like it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm fascinated by it. I like people who do that kind of stuff.
yeah. No copyright
Yeah.
issues that way. We've seen a lot of that this Olympics. Everybody's getting in trouble for using music they didn't have permission to when you're the guy doing the voiceover.
Right. You don't have those issues. Well, and then it looks like US and Canada might be in the hockey finals. I mean, they're both rolling men's hockey.
At Indoor
But
AgCon,
here's
they
in what?
had the Canadian at Indoor AgCon. Harvest Today is like this. They make units, and a bunch of their guys are from like Winnipeg, and I walked over and I was like, "Oh, you got the Olympics on," and they were like staring at it, and then it hit me, and I was like, oh, as a U.S. guy, like I was like Canada, Czech Republic, like whatever, and I was like, "You guys are really pulling for this one." They're like, "Yeah, yeah." They were like, I was like, "Why are you so nervous?" I was like, "I'm pretty sure that the line on this was like plus 12,000. You guys are up nothing," and they were just
They
like,
haven't been scored on in years, like years.
and they were like, "Yeah, but you just never know," and I was like, "Yeah, you
No,
I
you do.
think you kind of
You
know."
kind of know. Well, so here's my thing on the Olympics, on the Winter Olympics. A lot of the like figure skating, that's cool. Could really go any direction. Ice dancing, meh. Some of the downhill skiing, when they're just going alone, I think it is boring because you're watching someone do the exact, different people do the exact same thing over and over. I think they need to introduce obstacles and booby traps and fire. Like, I think this Olympic needs more fire. And I keep saying that at home, and everyone's like, it's ice, it's gonna melt, it's snow. And like, not if sometimes they're moving like 60 miles an hour. Like, it's not gonna melt. It's just gonna look cool. But I think stuff should come shooting across the course that they
Was
have
this
to
the
like
Hunger
dodge.
Games?
Kind of. I just think that would add a little bit more excitement to it. Maybe even in like ice dancing, definitely in bobsled. I mean, there's
What if
nothing more
what if
boring than watching bobsled. But
Oh,
if
what
there
if
were
Well, have
like
you watched the
ramps,
snowboard cross? That's kind of cool
yeah,
because they
snowboard
race
cross is cool because there's a lot of people doing it and they can
they
run
race
into
each
each
other.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Mm.
know. I think that if you're on your own going down a mountain, there needs to be, or like wolves, like
I was gonna
release
say
a pack
wild
of wolves.
animals. Wild
Yeah,
animals.
Pack of
like
wolves. There you
release
go.
something. They have no
Release
idea
the
what's coming.
hounds. I
Yeah.
love
What
that.
if, what if they put a camera in the helmet? So when they're going like 80 miles an hour, like this, then you're like see it. Like it'd be a little bit more
That'd be cool.
exhilarating,
Like
right?
a point of view on the
Like a point of
downhill.
view.
But
Yeah.
imagine if a wolf came out of nowhere, 10 of them.
I don't think they'd see them. They're like really focused, like looking forward.
Well,
What if it
you'd
attacked?
probably change the sport a little bit because you'd want to focus on the wolves.
I think that there's something that could be done that's more than just Snoop Dogg interviewing people. And then on the one
How
thing
did
I was
Snoop Dogg
thinking, we were
become the king
watching.
of Winter Olympics?
I know. We were watching the half pipe snowboarding last night, and they said it's like a 22-foot wall that they're going up, and then they're only going 11 feet in the air. Like, and this was the women's, and this was whatever her name is from California, who's dating Miles Garrett. But I just think that I feel like they should be going a lot higher. Like they should hit like a power up and go like 40 feet in the air. And I'm sure there's physics to that too, but we need the, it's
This
2026.
is like
we can get
Mario
around that.
snowboarding.
Yeah, I want to see, yeah, if the wall is 22, I want to see him go 44 feet in the air.
Have you ever tried
What?
snowboarding, Bill?
No, I've never even been skiing.
All right. So I think if you try either of these things, then that 11 feet will look really high. Because
Probably.
we went skiing, snowboarding. It was like a Christmas gift my parents got us. And I did the snowboarding, which you're not supposed to do when you're over 35, I don't think anyways. And then, but I tried it. It was really, really hard. I couldn't even like go forward for like more than like 13 seconds without falling. So
There's so much there that I want to unpack. Who gave you the age limit? 13 seconds is very specific.
okay, like you're not supposed like once you're like a certain age, Mason, you're not this old yet.
I'm
But like
35.
well, don't go snowboarding yet for the first
Yeah.
time.
You're
I've already
done.
been. Wait, but if I've already been snowboarding,
Oh yeah,
can
that's
I-
fine. That's
Okay.
fine. Like if you can kind of do it, but like you start to get to a point where like unless you're like Bill, who's like in amazing shape, right? If you're like in regular person shape, then like things start to hurt a lot more than it used to. So if you fall while you're trying to snowboard and you like you didn't have to break anything, you won't be able to move the next day. So I'm just saying, like it's not safe for 35 and over to do it for the first time.
I would say, Bill, if you haven't been snowboarding or skiing, your first time, do it without the wolves.
Yeah, probably.
Don't do your
Well,
first
no,
time.
and although I skateboarded, so I feel like I'd be fine. I'd be able to go more than 11 feet in the air first try.
Yeah, but when you fall with with the skateboard, you can move your feet. Like
Yeah,
your
that's
feet
what
are,
I'm saying.
like,
No wolves. the first
glued
time.
to the skateboard.
All right. Well, while Mason and Alex are working on their ice dance routine, maybe I'll learn how to snowboard, and we'll circle back in 4 years and do our own Winter Olympics.
What about
GH
like real
Squad Pod
quick?
Winter
Can we talk
Olympics.
about what about curling?
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's awesome. I curled in college. I was on an intramural curling team at Bowling Green. It was a fraternity team.
Seth, remember that place downtown
I do.
that we used to go to, Kaiser Tiger, and we used to go to this
Once. I think we
establishment,
only went one
beverage
time.
establishment.
We only
What?
went once. We only
I
went
went
one time.
multiple times.
Oh, okay,
That
Did
was
they
like
have
a cool-
curling? Had a curling
Yeah, on
ice
the
at
roof.
the
out
bar?
back. Yeah,
we're back. I don't know.
That's cool.
yeah.
It was.
Curling is a great sport.
How do
I'm
I
actually
invent it?
encouraging my daughter to join the curling team at college next year. I go, you got to be able to walk on. Like, they're not going to kick you out. She's
Well, you
very
gotta be careful.
skilled.
If
at
you walk
things like
on, you gotta be
that.
careful you don't slip.
She's good at shuffleboard. She's good at darts. I feel like if you're good at those two things, you're going to be good at curling. She's very precise. I don't know. I want to be a curling dad, a collegiate NCAA curling dad. It's one of my new goals. I don't
Well,
think
and
it's
did
going to
you
happen.
guys see that there, like a bunch of like NFL players are trying to start a curling league? Like
I
George
don't see
Kittle
why
was
not.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm all for it. I think curling is a great sport, and Winter
What's your
Olympics
favorite
are awesome.
Winter Olympic sport?
That's tough. Hockey, I guess. It's just because I like hockey.
I like the one. I don't
Yeah,
even know if
kinda
it's
lame.
still a sport, but they used to do the one where it was like skiing with a gun.
With a gun. I
They
think
still
it
do that.
is.
They do
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
that's cool to me.
I
Like
don't
they
understand.
get
Like,
down,
what
and you're, phew.
What are they shooting?
Like
A
target.
target?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
long
but they
distance,
should
right?
put
Like it's a scope.
antelopes or something or moose or something. There should
Right,
be a
something
real,
moving.
yeah, or your opponent.
The
I mean,
Potato
hey,
Squad
put some
pod does
skin in
not
the
advocate
game.
for
Yeah,
violence.
we don't. Yeah, we're not the opponent thing. We should just
All
move
right.
on. Let's just skip this
You
topic.
guys are
That's got
better
real
men than me.
weird.
All right,
Yeah.
topic 3. We did get a question for Ask the Old Guys, which is a segment that Seth proposed way back in episode number 2. And we did get a question. It was submitted through Spotify, which we're very appreciative of. We love the engagement. Send your questions and your comments. We do have to tackle this one. What
I don't.
horticulture companies or businesses do you miss that are no longer in operation? And I know I'm throwing this one at you guys because I don't know if you saw the comment, but I actually thought of 2. Well, 3
Yeah.
or 4. The first one is Fides, Fides.
Yes.
They were a plant breeding company out of the Netherlands. They specialized in Kalanchoe, and they also did some just standard bedding as well, but mostly Kalanchoe was like their big thing. And they were purchased by Dooman in like, I want to say like 2015. It's been more than 10 years. But they used to exhibit, well, they did 2 things. Their marketing was phenomenal. So they used to exhibit at spring trials, and their displays were like over the top artistic, and
And
their
weren't they
signage
some?
was kind of risque.
Oh yeah, that's
Uh,
what I remember. Some really risky
Oh yeah,
images.
people were like, "Oh my gosh, how do they get away with that?" And people are like, "Well, they're European, they can get away with it." But and then my story with them is they had an ad probably for Kalanchoe, and it was very risque. It had like scantily clad men and women in the ad, and they bought the back cover of the magazine I was working on, and there was a big internal discussion like, "Can we even run this? Like, are we going to offend like half of our readers?" And I think we actually did not run it, which I think in today's day and age would have. But so Fides is my first one, and then another one I was thinking about was Flora Nova. And Flora Nova was a British company, and they bred a lot of. They were like the first company to bring out patio vegetables. I forget what the line was called, Veggie something.
Was that Vegetalis?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Nice. Good call. You are an old
Yeah.
guy officially. But Flora Nova had this line, and I'm like 99% sure Syngenta bought them. And it kind of kickstarted the Syngenta small vegetable program. But they were really the first to do like patio, like breed for compact patio vegetables that still produced a lot. The other company, we'll give a shout out to Goldsmith. They're an OG plant breeder out of California, Goldsmith family, just awesome group of people. They were the ones who started spring trials in a way as come out and visit and take a look at comparison trials. So big shout out to Goldsmith. So those are my 3. What do you guys, and it doesn't have to be breeding companies. My brain went to breeding companies.
My problem is there are several of these that like I don't that like there are pieces of them that I miss. I'm like,
Okay.
I miss that, but then I'm like, there are lots of things I don't miss. But you know what? I'll say it. I'll throw it out there. Grimes Horticulture, no longer in business. I'll say
Ohio.
what I miss about them was their catalogs were pretty slick. I was like, they always had that cool cover on the Grimes catalog. And then the other one was, I don't think this one exists anymore, but Hort Couture had those under the sea coleus. And they had some cool petunias. And I think there's a lot of things about Hort Couture that didn't work, but those, like, they had some cool genetics in there. And
I think Raker kept the under the sea.
under the sea.
Coleus.
Probably. And
Yeah.
Raker was
I
like
think
their
they
big
kept
rooting
selling
station
them.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Hort Couture was cool because what they did at the time was look through a consumer lens at garden plants. They were probably ahead of their time in a way. And they didn't, like, besides the under the sea, I don't think they had a lot of their own genetics. They were kind of repackaging stuff, but that was the whole point. It was the package, right?
And with that in the same vein, by the way, I have to give, it's not even a company, but it's a plant that I don't think this is still around. Blue Effuse.
Oh yeah.
That was a cool petunia. I know that it had its problems, but the colors on that thing were cool.
Problems? I don't think so. Yeah, that's God, that's circa like 2013, 14, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For because Burpee Home Gardens had that as like an exclusive, and it was like a mixture between purple,
And
white,
yellow.
and
It had,
yellow.
It was
yeah,
cool.
it was like purple, yellow, and white in one flower. Really cool.
Yeah. Well, and
Seth,
then
do you
I
have
mean, they don't
any
need.
great memories?
I mean, if I could go down that road of like Burpee Home Gardens flower side, right? Like
Mm,
we had our
Flash mob.
own flash
flash
mob.
mob.
We also had it was an osteospermum voltage
Blue-eyed
low.
beauty. Oh, no,
No,
high voltage.
high voltage. It was
Yeah.
voltage, so it's supposed
Yeah.
to like last longer
It was
into
a
than like
it was like landscape positioned.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I think that I mean that's sold through ball floral plant now. So like some of the flowers just kind of got roped kind of back into some
Wasn't
of the
there a
other lines.
begonia that had a unique name too? I don't know.
I don't remember the begonia. Did you
But
name blue fuse? I know you've named some stuff.
no, it
Was that
wasn't. It
you?
was blue
Blue
fuse. No,
fuse.
no, that was. I thought you were talking about high voltage. No, but it may have had a hand in blue-eyed
Mm,
beauty, which was like the next ball floor plant
yeah.
iteration.
You know what? You know what was ahead of its time that
Hmm.
no longer exists now? Yeah.
Grow it.
Right.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, are we gonna? Were we?
We're gonna do a whole episode on grow it. We are.
Which, if we do, if there's a way to share videos, because me and Mason once did these pitch videos, right? You remember that to like Apple, and I still have those, and they're slightly embarrassing, but like, I mean, we don't get embarrassed, so it's just like nostalgia. So we do a video wrap up of our goofy experiences from Grow It.
Seth
Send me
and I
one of
both
them.
have
We'll put it on Instagram.
boxes
Alright.
of swag. I guarantee it. I just have a bunch of grow it fanny packs.
Yeah, if we need to, I may or may not have some Grow It swag in my attic that my wife may or may not like very much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we need to
Give away.
rebrand those, we'll just put like a GH squad on the
Yeah.
on the
Oh, there you
shoulder,
go.
special
You
limited
guys
edition.
should go to Cultivate this year wearing all grow it gear.
I don't know if Jax would approve.
They probably would. They have a good sense of humor. Well, that's
Mhm.
cool. I do think they're, and maybe for the listeners, if if you can think of companies in our industry that are no longer that you want to shout out because, all of them did something cool. And maybe there were reasons why they're no longer around, and that's fine. Companies come and go, but I do think there's a pretty good history in our industry, and we're going back to like early 2000s. I mean, I feel like there's probably people that would take this back to the 70s and remember.
Imagine Marvin's answers.
Oh my gosh,
Ooh.
or Beatties.
Yeah.
Exactly. Comanche petunias or something. Yep. All right, and now we need to take that existing segment and spin it in to a new segment that another Seth idea that I really like this. And maybe you can give us the reason why you pitched this, but new segment. If I started a new hort business, I would ...
This was my idea.
Think so. You put it in our shared notes.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah,
said, in fact, you said this is something that you and Mason would always discuss when you were driving around
Oh.
back in the Grow It days.
yeah, even before Grow It. I mean, it just we like shooting the breeze on different ideas or whatever. So yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun. Like I always come up with random ideas and kind of like what could be interesting for the plant world. And it might be, some of the ideas might be the dumbest ideas someone might ever hear. And it might be a waste of their time to listen to, just saying, or it may not, but whatever.
So I was thinking about this earlier today when I was in the pool, and I just kept thinking, like, if I had, I would do a small business, like a small format or small footprint, and then try to replicate it, across different markets or even in a city. But I would specialize only in products that could be produced and sold 12 months a year. So, like, in fact, I was just in a meeting this morning about callas. Like, calla lilies can be grown and produced for every single holiday, like 12 months a year. And I think it would be interesting to have your whole entire assortment. So you're not focused on like spring plants and summer plants and fall plants. Like, I'm not going to have mums in my store. I'm strictly going to have, and it's going to be a lot of indoor plants, obviously, but there are, a lot of decorative plants that can be produced year round, and even, greens and things like that. Like, I would want to have the same assortment 12 months a year, but then just tweak it here and there. Like orchids. You can have orchids 12 months a year, but you could have different orchids every month or for promotions or for holidays. I think that kind of the consistency in the overall product line, but then the differences that you can have week to week or month to month would be interesting, and it wouldn't overwhelm people because they kind of get used to, the products. If they're able to be produced and sold 12 months a year, I've got to believe they're either useful 12 months a year, like herbs or greens or things like that, or fairly easy to keep alive. And then you could add to it in terms of like make collections and things like that. If
Mm.
I had a new business, that's what I would do at the moment.
I got a wild one. I like
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
I like because that's sustainable. And I think that's in this industry, 12 months out of the year is something that we struggle with. So if you can
Yeah.
build around that, it's great. But you got me thinking about, as you were talking about some of these things, what if I would just want to start a company that was like our job? It would call it Plant Explorers. I don't know this lame name. I'd come up with something cooler. But like, I'm the guy you go to. Like, I got all the passports. I got all the survival skills. When you want something crazy, that you're like, hey, we've identified that there's a specimen at the top of this mountain in the Amazon rainforest. We need you to go secure it. That's where my specialty comes in. And like, you are the professional plant hunter. Because I know some of these guys exist, but I want to start the company that's like, for all the breeding companies, they're like, hey, we can't send our people into these risky scenarios. And I'm like, listen, me and my team have a special set of skills that make us stand out above the rest. We would get
Is
you the
this
plant
was
tissue that
this
you
a
need.
was this a topic for a few episodes ago where we talked about the movies, right? Like I feel like
A
you're
little
getting
bit,
into the
yeah,
movie
because I'm
territory, right?
thinking in my head, like, there's a huge, like, video component of this.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. It could be
I
like a risky scenario where you have to like put a disguise on to get into the mountain range. I don't know. Yeah. It sounds like a movie. I think you should.
I mean, it's either that or get a bunch of funding and buy up 7 plug growers across the United States and just have one in each of the shipping zones and then try to like, that's where I always look at our industry and I'm like, there are so many types of growers, but if there was ever like somebody won the lotto, they could like eat an entire segment because we have seeds and then they get, grow into plugs and then we sell the plugs back and people to finish them. But if you had one person that was like, I have $11 billion, I'm going to buy up all the plug market and just be the plug producer for all of these genetics. I think I think maybe that's like an evil business idea. Like that's the big bad corporate
Mhm.
business idea, but it had to be said.
Well, and
Okay. Well, that's,
I keep about your first idea, man. It would be cool to see like you negotiating with like a warlord in some country that, that has like this cool plant specimen, but they're not just going to let you in your hoodie walk in and be like, "Hey, I'm going to go pick this plant outside your mountain." They're going to be like surround you with guns and Toyotas with mounted cannons on the back. But you got to figure out a way to negotiate.
Yep. A lot of like this, like, whoa, 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 not so fast.
Right. Oh, yeah. And
Okay.
you've got like a suitcase full of cash. You're like, we're going to talk.
That's right.
is this something you'd be promoting to like the community colleges or like the university programs? Like, hey, if you go into horticulture, here's an opportunity for you.
I think it's more like retired Delta Force guys. Like, I feel like you're going to need a small independent army with you instead of.
Hey, you're 19. How do you feel about jumping out of a helicopter? Sir,
Yeah.
I want to work with plants. Yeah. Same thing.
You will.
Basically the same
You'll
thing.
eventually work with them. We're
Yeah.
going to lose half of you.
Oh gosh, that was great,
Yeah,
Seth.
yeah.
What do you got? What if you're gonna start a business? What are you gonna do?
And not just Nerf games in the greenhouse in the winter.
I mean, I think there's still something to that. Actually, on that topic is that my nephew's turning 7 and his birthday party is at the local gym NERF party where they supply the NERF arrows and all the kids bring their own guns. I think there's still something to this concept, but okay, we'll stay on brand though for the plants. That's fine. Were you going to say something, Mason? Were you
No,
going to
I
agree
don't know.
with me?
Yeah,
The NERF thing. Okay. So if anyone wants to try the NERF thing, I have ideas, reach out to me. But with the plant side thing, I think there's an opportunity for like small business, regional supply, mixed combos only. So, but it would be focused on combos that would go on like the front of the house, right? Like those 12-inch containers right in front of the doors. And, on one of another episode, we talked about like the challenges, right? Where I just had said, actually, sorry, it was the ball customer days, Bill, where we talked about competition and time.
Yeah.
I think time is everyone's competition. And, when I drive around my neighborhood, there's actually very few decent sized combos in front of people's
Oh, same
doors,
here.
right? Like our industry sells a ton of them, but I don't know where they end up because they're not in my neighborhood and they're not in any of the neighborhoods I drive through. And so I think that there's a lack of time. There's a lot of people that probably just don't even go into the garden center, And so I would say it's delivery only too, right? So you have
Mhm.
a hoop house, you do like an early spring mix. So like your pansies, your osteos, like stuff that's like really kind of interesting. And then you deliver it like at that early springtime. So like I guess for Chicagoland, like maybe early March, mid-March, something like that, right? So then, and then when the next like kind of summer, so mid-May, right? Your delivery people would go out, pick up the spring containers and then drop the summer container. And then there would be a fall and then even like a winter one, right? So winter would be greenery. And so, but then for homeowners, all they have to do is like sign up. So maybe it's 4 drops, but you pay monthly. So
Yeah.
that way it's just part of that. Like, again, also, I think there's times of the year, we'll talk about the seasonality, but there's times of the year where I think that people's wallets are more accessible and we're not playing then. And so
Right.
like, how might you how might consumers like at say January, February, March, whether it's a little bit after Christmas, you don't have all that spending that happens in the summer. Like they might be more willing to part with some of their dollars to like set up their home for like beautifulness for rest of the year. But
It's
again,
like a
I'm thinking,
subscription service.
yeah, but then it's also something that's doable, right? Like if you put in like, I don't know, like a 50-foot hoop house, like how many containers could you do in that hoop house for a spring, summer, fall mix, and then winter too, right? Because you're putting the twigs and the red twig dogwood and juniper and stuff. And is that something that could be done on a smaller scale? So
Mm.
you figure a hoop house for a small to medium sized town, right? So like think 15, 20,000 people, one greenhouse. And you're not going to trying to get super giant. Maybe it's a part-time thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to like, you have to like plant the plants. You got to keep them watered. But other than
But you're
that,
gonna
like
have to charge a premium because you're gonna have to use finished plants.
what?
Like, because you're saying you're not growing any of the plants, so you're
Well, no,
buying
no.
in.
But I mean, you would do plugs. So you would do
Okay.
plugs. You would grow them in the hoop houses. But I'm saying like, other than making sure that they're watered, because you only have like one crop. Like it doesn't take a lot of time, right? Like you could do that in the mornings. It could be a part-time gig, like a supplemental income sort of opportunity.
Here's a weird thing, by the way, that I just realized that the industry grows plug mixed containers. At the garden center growing up, we didn't do a single mixed container in a plug via plugs. I mean, we had some that were the like confetti stuff, like that we
Yeah.
just popped 3 plugs in and it was done. But 95% of our mixed containers
You assembled?
me or my mom had a, well, it was either one of us were doing it, but that we had a corner in the back greenhouse and we would just bring stuff back and we'd make like 20 pots in a night and out
Yeah.
of finished goods. Yeah.
No, I think, Seth, there is, I know there's potential there because somebody, and I don't know the company name, but someone was trying that in Texas. I remember Glenn Wilson, our regional manager down there. It
Hmm.
was like it was someone in his family or someone that he knew, and they had bought a greenhouse and were only going to do combos, but they were actually going to supply garden centers with them, but
Hmm.
Mm.
only big
Mm.
premium combos. And it was kind of like you said. I think it was I don't think it was a hoop house, but it was one greenhouse structure. Like it wasn't bays of greenhouses. It was one. And they were going to be premium only. You might still be doing it, and only for the local market, only for independent garden centers. But I like the direct to consumer model,
Well,
subscription based.
I think that
Seems
people
like
have to be doing this because the thing that I became aware of, because Caitlin, who is our director of technical support, like is like a member or just talks for them, is that whole group digging in and that they're just focused on containers. Like
Hmm.
it's a whole that it's like a growing, like a container growing group. And she talks about that. And I think that's their like
Hmm.
main focus.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
And they're around, are they national or?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Like, and she spoke for them, and then Laura Kunkel, who is the executive director of American Bloom, who obviously I'm president of and work with her closely. She just told me the other week that like she spoke to them, and I was like, all right, like okay, this is went from something that I was like didn't know what it was to now I'm seeing it everywhere. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
I
know
tried
that there's like
digging in.
landscapers that do this. Yeah, I'll find a link. I'll find a link to
All right.
that and throw it in the show notes. But I know there's landscapers, like container design people that do this for clients, but they're probably buying that material, putting those combos together on site.
Hmm.
And then they've got to hustle up that business again every season.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're signing up for a 4 time a year subscription,
Yeah. I mean, there'd be
I like
still
it
some
as a
specialized.
side hustle or as a supplemental business.
Yeah, it's
I'm
called the
always.
Digging In Association, for those that you're
Oh.
wondering.
Yeah, I'm always kind of interested in, I mean, my wife stayed at home with our kids she just more recently started working at our local library, but 14 years she was a stay-at-home mom, so certainly always like, oh man, I wish like we had like additional sort of supplement sort of thing. And
Mhm.
again, like, growing. And then you could always like also partner, right? Like collaboration is like really key. Like how might you then work with your local garden center and say, hey, I have 100 and so containers, we could partner up and, I'll run this part and then we'll have like a coupon or something or like what?
We
Or like,
did this. We did this. There was a guy, we called him Cousin Ron because he was always in the greenhouse. So in that area where we used to make mixed pots, I totally forgot about this. He like made containers for Oxford, Michigan, like as a municipality, and he like
Yeah.
did their like streetscaping. And then we gave him a discount on the pots because we told him, we're like, for every 2 you make, we make us 1 to sell. And like, so he would come in and do like three pots all the same. He'd take 2 of them and leave 1 for us. And we were like, he does a great job making these pots.
And he bought the material from you guys.
You didn't have to buy it. He did it in our greenhouse. So
Yeah.
we were like, so he would just go around the greenhouse, swiping stuff, putting it in pots, and then like he'd just leave it back there, and then I'd take it up front to sell, and then he'd take the pots up to the front, the 2 that he was buying for every one, and he'd buy like 40 mixed containers at a time, design them,
Yeah.
do it himself, and then we had a fee was like for every if it was a 12-inch, if it was 16-inch, like here's
Yeah.
your price, and
Yeah.
he did all the work on it, and like he was a great guy, Cousin Ron, yeah.
and if I might take it one more step too, is I think if there's a way to partner with like a local school too, right? Because I feel like there's not enough schools that are doing plant like fundraisers or whatever,
Fundraise.
right? And then be like, oh, hey, because then you could like basically gives you access to a bunch of parents that want to
Mhm.
buy something, and this is something that's beautiful. But the nice thing about that is just like one or two things here and there. Like if there are people that buy plants and usually normally go to the garden center, they're still going to go. They're just going to have one additional container that's already there in their when they're home. So, and then it gets kids connected to horticulture and plants. And so I think that there's just a lot of missed opportunity working with local schools and kids.
Agreed. Agreed. I like it. Those are good. That was a good segment. We're going to continue that. So for next episode, think of more.
I've already got my
I
next
know.
one that I'm saving for
All
next
right,
time.
good.
I got 2 more.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Yeah. One's
I
good and
will-
one's less good.
NERF.
But
One's NERF. One will always be NERF.
Oh, it's going to be Nerf.
I think you could like 3D prints.
No.
No, you could. You could like make your own Nerf guns. I think there's something to this.
I tried to cover him up on my screen and realized that doesn't do anything for anybody else watching this.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But along the birthday party line, my daughter is working. She was just telling me, she's like, yeah, I got to work tomorrow. I'm like, where or when? She goes 1 to 4. I'm like, that's a lot of classes because she's like a trainer for a parkour gym. And she goes, no, it's a birthday party. She goes, easy money. She goes, we get paid a ton. She goes, I will get pizza and cake. We work those
Free
3
food.
hours. She's got like 15 minutes of like setup, 15 minutes of cleanup. They get a half an hour break in the middle while the kids all eat lunch and do cake and presents. And then she basically just makes sure that the kids don't break the equipment. And like, I know they're charging a ton for this. And, it's great. It's a good idea. Definitely should be doing it in a garden center instead of in a big warehouse. All right. Shout outs and hot takes. We got 5 minutes left. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to any grower out there who was receiving product in the last 3 weeks when it's been 0 degrees out, and putting in that kind of work is impressive. And hopefully you didn't lose too many plants. But if you can receive plants in freezing temperatures and still have crops in propagation right now, huge shout out. You guys are doing the Lord's work. Anyone else have a shout out?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Oh, I'll
No,
go
you go
real
ahead.
quick.
Go ahead.
kind of on the same vein, shout out to all those guys that are still out there grinding, producing Easter lilies. Like that is
Oh
a
man.
product that are in like I was almost gonna make it a hot take that it was like bring Easter lilies back because I think people are like no, but I'm shouting out the people that are growing the Easter lilies because like few and far between and like they're beautiful. We need to work on the consumer side of the industry and show them how beautiful Easter lilies actually are.
Well, and the interesting thing, so here's a funny, and a couple weeks ago in my newsletter, I tried on my own to put together like a schedule, like timing schedule for Easter lilies, because Easter is actually like 20 days earlier this year than it was last year, which is another
Mhm.
crazy difficult thing about producing
Yeah.
Easter lilies is the timing. But I was thinking like, man, who still buys Easter lilies? And then in my head, I was like, I'm gonna see Easter lilies for like 3 weeks solid at church, and there's gonna be like 100 of them up around the altar and stuff. Like there are still Easter lilies bought and sold, but I hear you, man, on the grind producing a lily this time of year and
Yeah.
getting them to flower at the exact right time. Because if they're not in flower on the 5th, you're going to be out of luck. So,
Yep.
yeah, big shout out.
Mm.
Seth, what do you got?
Well, I was gonna say something, but you guys were really selfless, like those were really great shout outs, and mine was self-deserving. So I feel kind of awkward about
You going to name yourself the quad god?
I don't know. I can't no, I don't think so. Not the
All right.
quad guy. No, so I'm doing a webinar on next Friday with the Perennial
I
Plant
saw that on your
Association.
LinkedIn.
Yeah. Someone else should have said that. Can someone else bring it up?
Yeah, I want to
Shout
shout
out to
out
Seth
Seth.
for doing a webinar on a topic I don't remember, on a date that I don't remember.
Seth,
Okay,
But I
I
well,
think it's
saw.
such a great topic. Why don't you tell people a little bit about it?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, absolutely. So it's on sustainability and how companies can be more resilient by leveraging sustainability strategies and practices.
Okay.
So it's taking all the things that we've been doing at Ball and trying to just really just share like, hey, this is the different things that we're doing across the world and conserving water and reducing our carbon footprint and all that stuff, and hopefully just kind of create some ideas for any of the people that attend. It is on Friday, next Friday the 20th at noon Central, and then pop over to Perennial Plant Association to register.
That's awesome. I will put that link in the show notes. Go watch Seth talk about sustainability. He knows a lot,
If
and
you
there are a
need more
lot of
Seth,
ideas.
if you need more Seth in your life, there's more Seth
Yes,
content.
absolutely.
Yeah, but it'll be like I'll probably be, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it'll be good.
It's
It'll
going to be
good.
awesome.
Yeah,
I know it will be. You're a good
thank
speaker.
you.
You have a lot of practice. You'll be great.
Yeah,
And we
okay.
will be there to support you
You will?
100%.
Can I count on you guys to register? So at least we
If
have
it's
two
not during
people.
the time that we're recording a podcast, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
Any hot takes?
Yeah. Hot takes. I'm firing shots at a garden center, and they're
Good
not catching
shots?
strays. What?
Are these good shots?
No, this is a bad shot. And don't worry, I'm not naming any names because I can't
Oh,
remember it, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Once upon a time, you and I traveled to the Florida plant trials.
where are you going with this one?
Seth and I went to the worst garden center that I've ever been to. This week it came up in conversation 4 times, and for the life of me, I can't
Like
remember what it was called.
had other people been there before?
I don't think so.
No,
This is the one that had the guy
I
was
know.
sitting in like a throne chair, and there
Yeah,
was
it was
just a
smoking.
million cans of roach spray, and that was all they had in the building was roach spray. And this guy was like behind this big desk in a leather bound
was-
chair, and the plants in the garden center, air quotes, were like growing into the side of like dirt mounds, and like
It was
we felt like we needed to like wash our hands after we like left.
You
the
probably
the,
should have.
the office was like I don't think the office had changed since like the 70s, but
No,
they accrued everything that happened from like 1970 to 2016 when we were there. It was all in the office. It was
yeah.
Was
It
he
was
chain
interesting.
smoking Pall Malls?
No, but there were when we showed up, we were like, "Are they open?" And there was just like 2 guys smoking cigs out front, and they were just like tossing them into like a plant in the front, and we're like, "Okay." Like it
Yeah,
was
it was.
raining, and they were just chain smoking cigarettes out front.
Ouch.
Did
Yeah,
they become a
Hot take.
garden
Don't
center?
let that be your garden center. That's not if I was starting a greenhouse business, I would do blank. No.
yeah.
We've all
Some
been to businesses like that. Garden
because someday I
centers,
want to go back to
greenhouses.
that place, and I can't remember the name.
It's probably in your trip report.
Well, and Florida, what's kind of cool about Florida, right, is like all all of the tropical and orchid growers, right? That are like, remember we tried stopping in that one
Yeah,
orchid
you went
grower?
in that guy's garage, and I was like, "I'm not getting out of the car. You're gonna get shot.
It was,
The
I
door's
would,
open. You can't just
I
walk in
really,
somebody's dark
I
garage."
really like it. Was interesting. I like orchids, and we were driving past and I'm like, there's a big sign saying they grow orchids. I'm like, let's go check it out. And you roll up and it's basically, yeah, it's like someone's garage and then a greenhouse out back. And it was super sketchy, but I have trouble with the like that red light bulb doesn't usually go off very often with me.
Yep.
So I was like, oh yeah, let's go scope out. Mason didn't even get out of the car. He's
I
like,
did
I'm
get
not
out of
doing
the car. I was
it. They're
like,
not safe.
Were you
Not safe.
wearing a pink Grow It shirt at the
I
time?
think so.
yes.
I think so. I was
Yes.
very noticeable, and I kind of got into the garage, and I was like, "Excuse me,
He's just
is
yelling.
anyone here?" It was like the doors were open, like there was someone, and then there was like some weird sounds. I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Sort of red light bulb, And I just was like, "Okay, that's
The
fine. No
garage
one's
was
here."
completely dark inside. It was like a horror movie. Like, you couldn't see what was in there. That's like, "I'm gonna stick my head in this door." And I was like, "It's gonna get blown off."
It's so good. I love it.
So,
I love it. Seth, do you have any hot takes, or are we calling it a wrap for the day?
No, I think I'm good. Thanks.
All right. All right. I do want to hear more Grow It stories or stories of rolling around, going into sketchy garages. I've got a few of my own, and maybe we'll do that for episode 13, Lucky 13. But that's a wrap for episode 12. We do appreciate you listening and watching, voting on your favorite fantasy plant draft team. Congrats once more to Mason and Carlos Lantana, the big winner. There's that trophy again. And as I keep repeating, we do want to connect with you. Thanks to the person who threw out and asked the old guys question. That was fun. But comment about what you liked, what you didn't, throw out ideas, topics to discuss. We will discuss them. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube and Spotify and listen on Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music. Best way to get in touch, find out what we're up to, is Instagram at GH Squad Pod. Reach out to us individually. Catch us as we're out and about over the next couple months at shows and events. Watch Seth's webinar. Comment how much you like the podcast. And lastly, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and all that stuff. Be a friend. Tell a friend about the pod. And we will be back in a week. Gentlemen, have a good week. It's supposed to warm up. I mean, the 10-day forecast is pretty solid. So
Like
stay
it.
warm.
yeah,
Later.
all 50 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
See you guys.
Good.